Right, so we have here an implementation of a movie DAO that implements many of the more common operations that we might need to find all movies, retrieve a single movie by its IMDb, create a brand new movie, delete a movie, and update a movie. So those are the basic 4 or 5 CRUD operations that we can do with movies. But we noticed that the queries that we're using, the strings that we're using, we're running into the issue that some of them are using concatenation to build the query, right? And that, as we mentioned, opens us up to the risk of SQL injection, right? So to a better implementation might be to instead use prepared statements, right? And we're going to change this to use prepared statements instead. Another issue of creating these statements is that these statements are expensive, right? To create these statements and destroy them when we don't need them anymore. Instead, we would like to maybe sometimes keep them around, right? And prepared statements allows us to do that. Compile the statement once, and then just execute it over and over. We can parameterize it with different values, and just reuse it instead of recreating it every single time. So let's change some of these to use prepared statements instead. Right? So let's change these. Let's go on with first a find movie by ID, and we'll replace statement by a prepared statement. Okay. And so let's import that. There it is. And so instead of saying that the connection, we're going to create the statement. Instead, we're going to say prepare the statement. Prepare the statement, right? But prepared statement takes as argument a string. So here's a string that we want to pass in here, the SQL. And just by doing this, right, we basically are where we were before. Right? This is exactly going to behave exactly the same way as we were before. What we want to be able to do is get rid of this concatenation. Right? That was the whole point of going with prepared statements. Right? So what we're going to do is that we're just going to get rid of that, and instead we're going to use a placeholder. Right? And that placeholder, we can then programmatically replace it with certain functions, part of the prepared statement, that will parse the parameters and make sure that it's the right data type for IMDb. IMDb is expecting a string. If it were a date, it would parse into a date. If it's a string, if it's an input, integer and whatnot, it would also make sure that it doesn't have any funny characters in there that are meta characters or quotes or backslashes, any escape characters. It would remove them and make sure that they are friendly. Right. So what we could do is now that we have the prepared statement, we can compile it, right, and parameterize it. We can say statement. We can now set the string of the first parameter and set it to the value of the parameter ID. Right, notice that the statement has several set functions, right, that are expecting the correct data type, right. So we can catch these things at compile time as opposed to at runtime, and also notice that the enumeration of the placeholder is indexed at 1. Okay, as opposed to everything else in Java typically is indexed at 0. In SQL is indexed at 1. So this is the first placeholder. Right, we're replacing it with a string ID. So let's try that. This is find movie by IMDb. We can go back here. Let's see. We're not going to do the update anymore. We are going to find the IMDb 1, 2, 3. Let's see if that still works. Or maybe let's try and find Titanic. Let's print Titanic. Let's run. Let's see if the find by IMDb still works. Hopefully it won't blow up. And it did. You have an error on the SQL syntax. Checks the manual. Blah, 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 blah. What did I do? Let's see. What does it think that I did? Version right. Blah, blah. For the right syntax, for use near question mark. Is it not question mark? Prepared statements. Let's see. Prepared statements. Is it not question mark? It is question mark. What is it that you don't like? Prepared statement. Did I use the wrong prepared statement? Prepared statement. Statements. Connection statements. Set string. Prepared statements. Is this the right one? It's interface. Java SQL. No, that is correct. imdbid. I don't believe you need to escape it. I think it knows that it's a string. Coffee, set sales, quotation, total, prepare statement, update statement, query, set int string, transaction. And this is a prepared statement, right? Movie. Let me stop this while